Alright, I just wanted to record a quick little video about the other virtue signaling going on at legislature. It's all contrived. As you can see, there's cameras all around, so it seems very difficult for me to fathom that with the camera system that they have surrounding the perimeter of this building and the security room that they have right in through, I believe it's that door on the right hand side, there's a security room where their camera system is entirely connected together, and when there's a protest they're usually monitoring that camera system, and I'm sure they would have noticed a fountain turning red that's very close with reasonably good resolution cameras that could be used to identify the suspects. Now you notice that they haven't published any photos, they didn't put anything on the news, they didn't show the act itself. They have this very careful arrangement. So you notice that? So the way that this display was constructed, they cleared a pathway to the main entrance over here, and they made sure that there is a pathway to this entrance over here. And so it seems very strange that it would be set up that way, unless if it were something that were planned by the politicians that are inside of there. So this whole setup, right, even with the statue of the Queen, it's all meant to sow racial discord. Here's the CTV news guy. I approached him and, gave him a piece of my mind regarding what's gone on. And that's that there's no autopsy given to the 215 bodies that were dug up. We don't know if they're victims of abuse or not. But the narrative is being generated by the news. Specifically, they're guilty of lying to everybody that these children were victims of abuse. There is no evidence of that. They dug up coffins, bodies in coffins. What kind of abuser goes to that kind of care, that level of care, with their abuse victims? They don't. That isn't a victim of abuse if they're buried in a coffin. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work that way. And so what they're doing is intentionally sowing racial discord and chaos. Look, they even failed to remove the paint in an appropriate manner, because if they were actually really trying to get that paint off, they would have used a solvent instead of just outright polishing it and leaving it like this. They want to make sure that the fountain is still red days and days after. See this? They would have fixed that, right? See that red paint in the fountain? How long does that take to fix? If anybody else does it, when there was laundry detergent dumped into the fountain, it was fixed the next day. But they're leaving it like this on purpose to send a message and to manipulate people. Just like that display that they have on the steps, that's meant to manipulate people too. Like I said, they cleared a nice little pathway to the door, and they knew which doors they could occlude and which ones they couldn't, And, you look at this guy, he knows exactly what to film and where, who to approach and who not to approach, who to record. He's not doing man on the street interviews. These are people that were placed there in the first place on purpose. So hopefully people know about that and know what kind of lies are being spread, especially with the Prime Minister, acknowledging this whole thing without actually looking at autopsies or evidence. So hopefully people can get an understanding that this whole thing is meant to sow discord. And the people that threw the paint on that statue, those people are social justice warriors that support the United Nations. Who do you think offered royal assent to all the legislation that codifies the United Nations into our legislation as a special privileged organization? That would be the Queen. The Queen is basically amongst the management of the United Nations. So what they are in fact doing is they're promoting the Queen, but the Queen here, she wants to make sure that people aren't fully aware that she is running things. She wants to run things a little bit more privately in the background, but still have all that power. So throw paint on the statue figuratively, get the film crews to go and film it, interview a bunch of fake people for your little propaganda news piece. Don't clean the statue properly, don't clean the fountain properly. Leave it as a little reminder don't clean the steps, leave it the way it is there too, because their goal, the goal of the people in that parliament, the goal of Queen Elizabeth's toadies and her royal family's toadies is to sow racial division and discord. And people need to know that. We both have a common enemy. The indigenous, the enemy of the indigenous is the Queen. It is the Queen, it is the UN, it is this legislature that's allowing these virtue signals to hang around. They are using you. And they're using everybody else too that falls for this joke.